Hey, here's a tip to help you with relaxing your pick hand and also with speeding up your pick hand by making it more efficient. Something I keep learning and forgetting over the years is basically hitting the note exactly on time. A lot of times if we have a metronome going in our head and we're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, a lot of times when that beat hits is when we start moving our hand to push the note or push the pick across the string. Now it's not actually quite when the note's going to come out. So if you start moving your hand at the beat, you're going to have a small amount of time when your pick is actually dragging across the string first. You can't really hear it, but you kind of hear a drag. And then, so it's like a drag pick. And kind of what that would look like, if you were to draw it out on a timeline, would be something like this. So if you have the beats in dark black here, and you have this little kind of like fuzz right after each beat actually hits. When you start moving your hand, it feels like you're moving correctly because you're moving your hand right at the beat, but the pluck doesn't actually happen until a little bit later. And as you're playing along with a jam or something like that, if you're kind of playing a string of notes, you kind of eventually compensate for that. But I found it's really helpful to focus on especially that first note you start in the string of notes to get that first down pick exactly on time. And it requires anticipation, so I'll show you what that looks like. So to correct this a little bit more, you actually start the pick movement, you start your hand movement a little bit before the beat, so that once the beat actually hits is when the tip of the pick goes across the string, and that's when you actually start the waveform. So it's something that you can't really demonstrate as you're playing because, again, it's a small time difference, and as you're playing even the wrong way, if you start moving your hand with the beat, you'll eventually kind of compensate for it. But if you're trying to think and get it the right way, trying to think of a metronome is helpful. Think 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And thinking of hitting that beat exactly as or hitting that note exactly as the beat happens can be really helpful. So kind of mentally hearing an accompaniment or hearing a bass line coming along and thinking that you're going to start your break or your solo exactly on the beat that you want and not delayed at all. So it just takes a huge amount of thoughtfulness, a huge amount of detailed thinking and listening as you go along. But once you start doing that, and once you start focusing on the actual release of the note instead of the start of the movement, you'll find that your hand, your whole motion is a lot more focused on when the note actually happens, which is what your ear is listening for, as opposed to what your hand is feeling for when you start moving the pick, which is too late. So once you start focusing on what your ear is actually hearing, then you kind of start ignoring a little bit more the feeling of your hand, thinking, oh, my hand has started, I'm good. You can't focus on that part. You have to focus on just the ear, on just when the note actually starts. So hopefully that's helpful. It's been helping me a lot more, but you have to play really slowly, so thoughtfully. You can't let yourself delay the starts of your notes by a millisecond even, and focus on it for downstrokes and upstrokes as well.